Hello, greetings. I am Gilles Mansillon. I'm coming back to you to continue the reading of my book, Beyond the Illusions, Beyond the Veils of Illusion. I am. It is a rough translation. It is a preview before it's going into print. It goes like this, Chapter 9. It was at the beginning of 1992, while I was living in Miami Beach, Florida, that my painting began to change, and that was also the time where I began to travel consciously into the universe. I had arrived at a point where I was wondering if I had to continue to paint the same style of painting my whole life when celestial bodies began to appear in my work. Planets, stars, galaxies, starship, and astronomical symbol and celestial personalities, as well as all sorts of cosmic representations, started to naturally integrate themselves into my paintings. Even if I was still using calligraphy into my work, it was no longer the leitmotif or the central theme of those new paintings. The star maps are probably the most important paintings that I had of that period, that I call metacosmic, as a friend had suggested to me at the time. Of all the star maps I made during that period, the most beautiful and most important of them was stolen from me in New Mexico in 1994, and I still don't know what happened to this painting, as well as not having any pictures of it. As well as a magnificent square painting with a poem of Confucius on it. Many such acts of thieves happen, and that taught me not to be too attached to the object themselves. After a while, and a bit of philosophy, I came to the point where I saw it as a compliment that some people were stealing my paintings while I was not recognized or known in the international art market. Although I could never feel happy to have paintings stolen from me, it took paintings that took years of work for some. I did not over-worry about those paintings, and I remained optimistic, thinking that they may still be returned to me someday, if they have not been destroyed. No matter what happened or where they have landed, I know they always will keep their light, and I hope they benefit the people that have them now, even though they did not acquire them honestly. I do have a firm intention to retrieve those works if they still exist. And so, as I have mentioned previously, it was also the time during that period that I began, in the year 1992, that I began to communicate with my spirit guide, as well as with the world of spirit. This experience of being able to meet my spirit guide was an immense revelation and a great joy that I still benefit from today, and more so each and every day. We all have spirit guides as well as guardian angels. Those personalities know us better than we know ourselves. And they follow us, they assist us, they guide us, they protect us, and that even since we came into this incarnation. They contribute in a vital and essential way to our well-being, and they are the guardians of our destiny. The great majority of human beings are not even aware of their guides. They do not know them, and even less by their names. But they're very real and thankfully working for us and for our well-being. Having had a chance to meet a few of them originally through a friend that was a medium, I am now able to communicate with them directly through telepathy and maintain a contact on a daily basis. I rarely, if not to say never, take important decisions without their recommendation, as I know they are always of good counsel and an essential source of wisdom for me. I have a deep gratitude for their patience with me and for their friendship. Through those communications, I could realize a number of important things. One being that most people are fairly well integrated within the earth plane, but not as well with the spiritual world. When, as for me, it was the opposite. I understood why I had so many difficulty with this, and why I had to produce so much effort for my feet to touch the ground. I know that it is because I come from a world where it is natural to fly, to go through the air, to get around, and the simple fact that I needed to walk in order to move in this world and was a condition that I had to get used to. Since then, I made much progress in that domain, and I may keep both of my feet on the ground without much difficulties. But that condition had not been as easy for me as it is for most people. I also understood that I had to continue on my spiritual path, and that I had to always be both in a creative and open or receptive, in a way that, in a path that was both receptive and creative. That allowed me to keep my sense of well-being, my inspiration, my optimism in a world that often appeared to me as unreal or illusionary. I was told that I was to become a guardian of the truth, or that particle of truth that is the realm of the higher vision. I became aware that I had to protect that vision, that I had to share it with those who were ready to receive it, to inspire it in those who are already seeing it, but not to give it to those who do not wish to hear about it. And then eventually I would know when the moment would come to set it free and to make it available for all. I feel that this moment is coming, and as I know, writing this book to be published is a first step in that direction. Cornelius, my master guide, explained to me one day that my gift of vision, or my power of clairvoyance, was like if I had a very special pair of glasses, and from time to time I could lend them to other people so they could see, they could feel for themselves those things of the higher planes and other dimensions. So that is the paradigm I have been and am working with, regardless of what my chosen mode of expression may be. I feel and I know that I must always be in a receptive mode each moment of every day. I also know that in continuing to follow the guidance of the Spirit, the best is always to come. I am conscious now that I can at any moment turn my attentions toward the inner planes to find the wisdom so that I may proceed with grace and ease no matter what the situation may be before me. I know that I can turn to my higher self, towards my I am presence, towards a personality or a group, so that I can receive guidance and wisdom in relation to any given situation. I know we are all one, and that one guides us all from the inner plane. I know that it is our pilot that pilots us through all circumstances of our life. I know that it is us, and that we are all divine and infinite creator, whether we are aware of it or not, or whether we can perceive the infinity as it is the truth. Because it seems impossible with our present earth mind. We cannot perceive infinity as it is in truth, because it seems impossible with our present earth mind. Only the Absolute can really know and understand the Absolute. Only God knows God, because for everyone else it is an act of faith. For us in the world of duality, for those who are not viewing infinity as an abstract concept, it may be the maximum paradox between being and non-being, between good and evil, between love and fear, light and darkness, existence and non-existence, agitation and serenity, what is possible and what is impossible, when in truth the reality of the infinite is all of this, of course, but also a lot more, infinitely more in fact. In 1993, I was traveling in Santa Fe. While I was traveling in Santa Fe, a document named the Urantia book came to me. That book had been recommended to me by an English friend who had studied theology at Oxford, I believe, and sought to talk to me about it. When I told her that I began to include celestial bodies in my painting. That book of more than 2,000 pages is a suite of revelations that are absolutely unique. It briefly explained those things of the universe from a spiritual, celestial, and divine standpoint. It explained the organization of the universe of universes and the Paradise Ascension Path. This book is now fully accessible on the internet and numerous languages, and I recommend it to all those who are not afraid to undertake the exploration of such an enormous document, because it takes us into the universe of spirit and gives us a foretaste of the highest spiritual, celestial, and divine reality that await us once we will have completed our cycle of evolution in the world of matter. those spiritual revelation about the origin and the organization of the universe of universes had a major impact on me. And once again, my paintings were influenced by by a document that came into my life. It also allowed me to have a glimpse into the vastness of life, or to phrase it in a more poetic fashion, that our Earth was but a grain of sand in a magnificent cosmic beach, that the ocean of divine love came to caress without cease throughout the eternal tides of life. After I read the Urantia book a few times, I undertook the huge project to transcribe through the process of painting, symbolically of course, to process some of those to express some of those great concepts that I portrayed that are portrayed in the first two parts of that book of Revelation. Those symbolic and methodological painting on such a theme such as cosmology or divinity, became the central theme of my pictorial expression, and to this day remain one of my favorite subject and theme. This painting project was very ambitious because it was not easy to conceive a way to paint the totality of the cosmic reality, even in a symbolic way and on a limited format. When I received this book and when I started painting those paintings, I did not have a large studio to create those work, and so I had to restrain myself and was obligated to create them on smaller format. That which was doubling my challenge and made my task even more difficult. I have had since the opportunity to create them on some larger format, but I rejoice over the possibility that someday I will be able to create them and present those monumental ideas on monumental format, or on the scale that they would be aligned with the value that they are attempting to present. In the first place, I look to represent through symbology the universe of universes in its impersonal form, or through the diverse administrative celestial center of the cosmos. Then I went on to represent the universe of universes through the aspect of the personality reality, or in the form of the 7 great families of spirit beings. Then I finally combined both of the personal and the non-personal realities of the grand universe, note number 52, and the master universe, note number 53. I could then verify by my experience the reality of those higher spheres of the invisible world. I came to realize that the Urantia book was hiding even more truth than it revealed. Note number 52, the grand universe. It is a term that is used to describe the total cosmic model of time and space. It comprises Paradise, the 21 satellites of Paradise, Havana, the central universe, and the 7 supercreation of time and space. So 700,000 universe, or 7 trillion evolutive planets, but does not take into account the cosmic universe beyond the 7 super universe. The master universe, it is a concept of reality that embraces the totality of the divine plans throughout the eternal ages to come of the cosmic universe. The master universe comprises the grand universe as well as the 4 levels of transcendental cosmic reality that are now in a process of mobilization way beyond the frontiers of the grand universe. We may note that the plans of the architects of the master universe are not known or revealed beyond the program of ascensions of the grand universe. Return to my reading. I always have for habit to seek to verify things, to see what truths they hold for me. So when I read the Urantia book, and through my faith and my spiritual connection, I was then able to come into contact with numerous celestial personalities that I did not even suspect the existence before reading this book. That gave me an opportunity to visualize many spheres, from the highest sphere of the local universe to all the way to some of the paradisical reality that has been introduced in this document. I was then able to verify some of the reality and some of the things about those personalities. Even if some of the information is contrary to my experience and knowledge, even if some other are contrary to the experience and knowledge I have acquired through my experience, or even others beyond my present-day vision. This to say that I cannot accept or embrace a concept that I have not realized, that is not, or that is contrary to my own personal experience in my life, that life has shown me, even if that is presented in a document that holds very serious information. Serious information. I think the limitation in this book of revelation must certainly come from the fact that they had to be filtered to be adapted to the mentalities of the beginning of the 20th century, and those who have dictated this information must have had serious restriction in their mandate, so that not to influence too much the evolution of humanity, and so to give a chance to each and everyone to discover and unfold his or her own truth. When those paintings began to manifest, I had to contact the Urantia Foundation to present those paintings to them, because in some of those works, proper name appeared, and I wanted to ask them if I should remove the name, not to entrave the right of property included in this book, but they responded to me by phone, encouraging me to keep the name and to continue my work in that direction. I was also able that same year to do a general presentation of those paintings in one of their international conference in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I was happy to see, even if that group did not comprise any real collector, that many people would come to take pictures in front of my larger painting to keep memory of it. This creative development kept me occupied for many years, and I'm still, up to this day, looking for a way to express those ideas of spiritual and eternal reality in a way that is even more complete or more subtle, even if they are far beyond the program of evolution of present-day humanity. Although I find now much pleasure in varying my subject, I think I will continue to paint those kind of paintings that touch upon the future of knowledge and the conscious evolution of all beings and all things, throughout all times and dimensions. I know that those paintings are not part of what is present-day contemporary artistic fashion and trends are tempting to offer today, but that cannot discourage me from creating such artwork or to perfect them over the years. Although there are right now many talented artists, as much in the realm of music as in the realm of visual art, for instance, I can observe that there are also a great number of people who are very respected in those domains, presenting art of music that are not truly artistic form but consumer product. This phenomenon may be regrettable, but it is most certainly necessary because it reflects an important aspect of the materialistic mind and world in which we live in. To me, the problem of the standardization of art, of bad taste, of death culture, and artistic expression that tend to promote violence of negative protest are promoting conflict and to maintain a level of cultural mediocrity which is quite prevalent in the world we live in at this time. That being said, and parallelly to this morose ambiance that formed those creative expression, I can already feel and see the beginning of a new renaissance that should not be long to manifest on the earth, to be soon recognized by the professionals of culture and the art world, and so to become soon after appreciated, felt, recognized, and accepted by the public at large. Although my own painting have been created in a purely personal fashion and to satisfy my own vision, I hope that the art world will soon someday recognize the signification of those pieces, which have aesthetic attribute, but foremost have interdimensional qualities. I am aware of the forces that are acting through me when I create them, and I know that they have meaning well beyond their pictorial form. They offer a potential of future development for humanity and will work as a catalyst as to augment progressively the level of fundamental understanding by bringing our attention to the essence, the eternal essence that lives within each and every one of us. Art is an instrument of peace, and peace is truly the first reality we need to manifest on earth and within ourselves. I think with all my creative projects to be able to guide, to inspire, to participate in a great and significant artistic and cultural movement that will soon be revealed, even if I am aware that it may take a little time for those paintings to be understood and accepted. I know that this new renaissance will be driven and made possible by men and women of diverse origin and of all nationality, but whom will have for common goal to express new ideas and ideology in order to benefit the whole of humankind. Those artists will have the opportunity to present ahead of their manifestation on the Earth's plane spiritual values that are necessary to unify the world, communicate hope and a deep sense of joy to those who are willing to accept such potentials. This new planetary renaissance is an emerging reality and a necessity that will have a strong impact to modify our beliefs and behaviors. I think that a shift of perception and behavior is essential because it is from a change of perception and behavior that all things may be deeply transformed and upgraded to satisfy the need of all beings and of the planet. And so that art that brings new vision, new ideas, or art that about spirituality will soon find an honor place in our society and will someday be accepted by the whole art world and the artistic community, as it is already the case in numerous most advanced planets. The power of visual imagery is undeniably one of the most important power there is, because it is through our vision that we integrate the foundation of our civilization. That is why cinema and televisions are so popular. Although I am deeply passionate by science and all other forms of creative expression, I think I will continue to paint for the rest of my life on the earth, or as long as I feel it appropriate, because it is a direct and personal mode of expression that has no limit, and which is gratifying, and which is very gratifying. It is an outlet that is independent and very satisfying because it reflects who we are while making it, or who we choose to be while creating those works. In my case, the presence of the infinite in the realm of the relative. I know that nobody can paint my paintings for me, and if I do not take the time to do those works, they will not paint themselves. It is the same thing with life. Life is this magnificent grand canvas where everything is always possible, but no one can paint it for us or live it for us. It is up to us to start and engage to create right now, within our intention, the life we wish to experience. If we are not satisfied with what we are living now, we only have to create something else by making a different choice. We then become conscious of our creative power, and we are then able to stop thinking of ourselves as victims by continuing to be oppressed by the effect of our subconscious creation. In developing our creative power and spiritual ability, we will eventually arrive at a point where we will reach the apex of our evolutionary ladder, and we will then be able to liberate ourselves from the constraint of planetary life, to realize that we are becoming sovereign and a divine being of light. We will then be able to integrate a new cycle of existence in the higher planes of reality, that which will be provided for us with long-lasting joy and true happiness. Well, thank you very much. This is the end of chapter 9.